Hey look, it's bb8. And bb8 and bb8.
Hey look, toys!
We're going to compare some of the different bb8 toys that are out right now. As you probably know, bb8 is the droid from Star Wars Episode 7, the successor to R2-D2 as the new cute droid. It started with Sphero, a remote-controlled ball controlled by an iPhone or Android app. Lucasfilm worked with Sphero to put a head on the ball, creating a real-life robot used on the set of the movie, and also turning the original Sphero into a bb8 toy. Hasbro also created a less sophisticated and less expensive remote-controlled bb8, which is sold exclusively at Target. It's bigger and slower, and it has its own remote instead of requiring an app. There's also the Disney Store exclusive bb8, which is motorized but not remote-controlled. I'll go into more detail later, but this is basically the budget option if you want a motorized bb8 toy. Now with the Sphero bb8, there's not much to the unboxing. You open it up and it's pretty much all there. You have the charging base with the cord, the body, and the head. The battery is already built in. Unboxing the Hasbro bb8, when you open the box, you're greeted with the head in a plastic bag and the motor. It's a little less elegant than the Sphero packaging. When you take those out, you find the body and the remote and the instructions. There's an extra instruction sheet that repeats the key point of how to turn it on and off. Shake gently to turn it on. Hold it upside down for 2 seconds to turn it off. The trick is to turn it right side up again before the falling asleep noise stops. Otherwise, you'll just turn it back on again. The motor takes 4 AA batteries. Make sure you catch the 4th spot around the corner. As soon as you have all 4 batteries in place, it wakes up and makes some noise. Next, you place the motor inside one of the halves of the body, line up the triangles along the edges, and make sure the designs line up too, and then you turn it until it locks. Pop the head on, and it's done. The remote takes 2 AAA batteries. With the Sphero version, you download the app, and then hold your phone close to bb8 as the app is starting up. Once the app is started up, you go into drive mode. Swipe back and forth on the picture of bb8 to orient it so the blue light on the droid is pointing at you. Because with the joystick interface, you push up to move bb8 away from you and pull it down to make it run towards you. And it works like an analog joystick. The farther away from the center you move your finger, the faster it will go. The Sphero works best on hard, smooth surfaces. It tends to just get stuck on carpet. If the Sphero bb8 hits an obstacle at full speed, sometimes the head can fall off. It's easy to put it back on. The magnets on the head are actually pretty strong. If you're very gentle, you can even pick it up by the head, which is not true of the Hasbro version. With the Disney one, the head isn't even detachable. The app also has a patrol mode, which basically means it wanders around and bumps into things. You'd like to think that it's learning to navigate the environment, but it's just not that sophisticated. It can't track its location well enough to do that, so it just bumps into things. It also tends to wander into obscure corners of the room and get stuck. There's also a set of buttons to make it perform specific actions, like yes, no, do a figure 8. It also has voice recognition, so you can verbally tell it to patrol, run away, etc. Okay, bb8, look around. The holographic message function is pretty cool. You point the camera at it, and on the screen, it appears to project a holographic message. So it's detecting live where bb8 is on the screen so that it can overlay the hologram. Sphero claims that their bb8 has an adaptive personality that changes as you play. I haven't figured out what this means. I'm not really sure how its personality is supposed to be expressed or how it would change. With the Hasbro bb8, control is pretty simple. The remote has 4 buttons: forward, backward, turn left, turn right. It seems to be an infrared remote, which is probably why the body has so many holes in it, so the signal can get through to the motor inside, which is where the sensor must be. While the Sphero can lose its head by running into things at top speed, this one doesn't go that fast. On the other hand, the magnets aren't as strong, so it is easier to knock the head off by accident.
It bumped into my knee.
On this bb8, you need the head so you can tell which way it's going to go when you press forward or backward on the remote. Because it's bigger than the Sphero, it can go on carpet, though hard surfaces are still better. It's very wobbly as it drives around, and it doesn't always go in a straight line. It sounds rougher as it rolls, and that's partly because the surface is detailed rather than smooth like the Sphero. And this bb8 makes lots of cute droid sounds as you control it, as well as if you just let it sit for a while. I wanted to do a ramp test to see which one could go up inclines better, but surprisingly they both had trouble with the lowest ramp I came up with. The Sphero could go all the way if it got going fast enough, but the Hasbro could never quite make it. The Sphero also wins in durability. Dropping the Hasbro bb8 just a couple of inches can be pretty dramatic. Of course, you can always pop it back together. Sphero will tend to lose its head, but other than that, it just keeps going. The Sphero is also waterproof. The original Sphero has a knobbly case you can put on it so it can get some traction in the water. You could put it on the bb8, but you'd have to leave the head off. Now lastly we have the Disney Store bb8. This one's nice and big, and it's probably the simplest option if you just want a bb8 that rolls around. As I mentioned, it's not remote controlled. You either press the button on top, or put it into sound activated mode and make noises at it.
Go! Oh, there it goes.
It makes droid noises, 17 different noises according to the box, and turns its head. And there's a wheel on the bottom, so it can roll back and forth. This weird button on the front is its collision sensor, so it can back away from walls. Although it might not work if you happen to have baseboards. It didn't do any better than Hasbro on the ramp test, but it did have a particularly hard time going straight on those mats I used. It's more durable than the Hasbro version. It won't explode if you drop it. Plus it comes with the 4 AA batteries it needs. Now it's fairly heavy. It probably needs the extra weight to keep it upright, so it can be good for demolition. Now for batteries. The Sphero bb8 recharges its battery on the charging base. Just make sure you have it right side up, and it will light up when you put it on. For Sphero, they claim up to about an hour of use on a full battery charge, which seems about right. It's supposed to take about 3 times as long to charge as it does to use it up, but I didn't thoroughly test the battery times. Sphero is not made to be opened. Remember, it's waterproof, so the battery is not replaceable. If the battery does die and doesn't recharge anymore, then you have the proverbial expensive paperweight. But in the research I've done, I haven't found any complaints about the longevity of the battery. So this seems to be mostly a theoretical complaint. The Hasbro bb8 uses regular AA and AAA batteries. Disney just uses AA's. So you can potentially play with them longer at a time, and you don't have to worry about when the rechargeable battery might stop recharging for you. On the other hand, replacing the batteries is a hassle. It requires a screwdriver for both, and Hasbro didn't include any batteries. Price. The Sphero bb8 is $150. It's available from Amazon or directly from Sphero.com. We got ours at Best Buy. You may see it for more at some places, but availability at the retail price has actually been pretty good. The Hasbro bb8 is $80, and it's a Target exclusive. But with the durability issues, I'm actually tempted to say this is the more overpriced product. Disney's bb8 is $35, and it's only available at the Disney Store. Age and playability. The Sphero, as we've seen, it's waterproof and far more durable. Patrol mode is fun to watch. It does have a choking hazard warning on it, which is presumably the head. The official age recommendation is 8 and up. I'd say mostly because the app is kind of sophisticated. On the Hasbro bb8, the remote is much simpler, so kids can operate it, as long as they don't accidentally cover up the infrared transmitter. I think the idle droid noises in the built-in speaker can make it feel a little more engaging. There is a choking hazard warning, probably because the antennas could potentially break off. Officially, it's ages 4 and up, and our 4-year-old can more or less do it. In fact, our 2-year-old can hold the remote and press the buttons. The Disney bb8 is the easiest to operate. You either press the big button on his head or make a noise. It's actually more fun than it looks. Even though it has just the one wheel to go forwards and backwards, if you get it wobbling right, it can do some fun moves. It has a choking hazard warning, just like the Hasbro toy. Officially, it's for ages 3 and up, but it's probably fine for any age as long as those antennas stay on. Some other notes: the Sphero is a little easier to control because it has variable speeds and a better sense of direction. The additional features in the app are definitely a plus. The induction charging base is really convenient. The Hasbro bb8 can give you longer play times with fresh batteries, and for some people it's reassuring that the batteries are always replaceable. The Disney bb8 is a good cheap option. It's less than half the cost of the Hasbro toy, and it still has some good play value. Plus, it's harder to bust it open. All in all, I'm going to call Sphero the winner. Even though it's so much more expensive, it's far more durable. It has a more sophisticated mechanism, and the app features add value too. Thanks for looking.